Hello. All right. Me versus me. Tool Rant Tuesday. This is probably I'm falling apart. This is probably going to be one of the, I would say, most important, most valuable rants that I will do. And the reason is because a lot of times we don't realize as founders and entrepreneurs the impact that we have on our success, right? And so I'm going to share with you some of the experiences that I had over the last week, because I think this is really important. And this unlocks a whole lot of stuff. So here's what happened. So if you have been following me, you know that I recently have rebranded most of my stuff. And it was really an effort to consolidate all of the things that I had done up to this point to understand, implement, connect with my ideal customer profile. So back in May last year, when I first, I've done this many times. Okay. It was just an iterative process. And so I connected with somebody and they didn't understand what I did. So I was, okay, let me refine my target audience. And what I realized, and so I did some work, I updated it. And what I realized, and this is really important, I think, is that every founder sees everything they do through the lens of who you are and your experiences. So my background is ex-corporate, project leader, very detail oriented, techie, even though I'm not an engineer per se, very techie. And so when I go to create something to reach out to my audience, my ideal customer profile, ex-corporate growth stage, founder, freelancer, coach, consultant, okay, I do that from the lens of myself who fits the profile, but from a techie perspective, okay? And there are a lot of things that because I'm detail oriented, I perceive them in a way that other people don't perceive them, which means that I got to get feedback, right? So I went out. I went out to get feedback. I'm ready to go. I'm out networking, right? I'm presenting, and I'm actually talking to my ideal customer profile people. Okay. So my first point was you have a filter. Okay. So that you have to acknowledge that as a founder, you have a filter and everything you do is based on the filter. So I have a filter, right? I use it to create my stuff. So I go out and I start talking to these people, and I realize that my filter is flawed if I'm seeking to reach a critical mass of my ICP, because they don't think like I think and they don't look at things the way I look at, because we don't have the same background. So what I learned is that, and this is a distinction, and bear with me here as I'm trying to attempt to articulate this, is social media, whether you're going out on social media and creating content, or you are talking to actual people, what we're seeking to do is we're seeking to give feedback, okay? Because our biggest enemy in this effort to get understanding and grow our businesses, I believe, is it's me, right? I'm the biggest bottleneck. So, but the difference between getting that feedback on social media in digital ways and getting that feedback from people is speed. Because the only way you really get to know whether you're resonating with people on social media is if you get engagement from people, okay? And that means that you have to do a whole bunch of posts and test a bunch of stuff out and see if it works, see if they respond, and keep it coming, right? But when you meet someone face to face, you get immediate feedback, like right away, like, I, I looked at that, but I really can't tell what you do. So again, like I'm like, oh my God, when am I going to get this right? Okay, because again, I felt like it was clear as just clear as water, right? I'm like, wait, I don't understand. But they're like, I don't really understand what you do. I don't really care about that. What is scalability is not for startups? And you get like real in your face feedback. And this is the thing. I love it. I love it because I move quick. Like I don't waste any time. When I want to make a move, I make it. So if I get feedback, I'm incorporating it right away. That's what I love about my platform. It's like if I need to do something, I need to do a survey, I need to do a question, I need to change the website, I just do it, right? So, and then I ran into another challenge. So point number one, everything that I do is through a filter that is me. So I have to be aware of that, have an awareness and understand that I have to get outside input. Two is, if I want to get immediate feedback and I want to be able to really understand what my ICP, ideal customer profile person, is thinking, feeling, and whether my message is resonating, the quickest way to do that is to actually go talk to people, okay? Not doing content on the internet, right? I mean, we need it. It's important. We can expand and reach a lot of people. I'm not saying it's not important. It is important. It's a strategy. It's one that I adopt. But what I'm saying is to get immediate feedback, to move faster, to get more speed, you talk to people. So that's two, right? But then there's a nuance to that. The third thing is that other people, just like I have a filter and you have a filter, everyone has a filter. So that means that even though you can get feedback from your ICP in person, what you don't have necessarily is an understanding of their filter. This also comes into play when you get coaching, because I'm getting help from everywhere. I'm like a sponge. Like I feel like I can learn something from any person on the planet, right? So, and I seek to. So, but when you're having these conversations with people, they're operating from their filter. You're operating from your filter. So who's right? It becomes a question, and not right in the sense of right versus wrong, but you have to have an understanding of what you're building when you're having these conversations, so that you can decide whether or not the feedback you're getting is something you're going to incorporate or something you're not going to incorporate. Because not everyone, you may find that not everyone is aligned with your greater vision for what you're building as a business. And you may need to pivot a little bit so that you can accommodate some of the people you can help based on these conversations. In other words, all the feedback is not necessarily feedback that you are going to use, right? And so had I not gone through the Streamline and Scale framework, which is the one I developed, and understood what I was building, in other words, what is my revenue engine and how do I want my business to operate, then some of the feedback I would have taken and I might have thrown the baby out with the bathwater. But I think it's important for you and I to make sure that we understand what we want to build. And that way we can take the feedback, work with the good, and take out the bad. So one of the feedbacks I got was from someone who had a sales filter. Okay, which is when I went through my Streamline and Scale framework, sales is now an area that I've determined I must focus on. And so, just understanding how to modify my business for that. And I'm quickly understanding onboarding is next. But this person had a sales filter, right? And so so somebody looked at it and they were like, oh no, this is not good for selling. You can't have profit and passion at the same time. You have to pick one. And if your passion is promoting like this empowerment of entrepreneurs, then that's not, you need to do something different, right? You need to just go sell websites, right? Last week I was ranting about websites, and I thought you need to sell websites. So I resisted that for a really long time. I really did, because I just don't, let me put it this way. For me personally, and this is me versus me, right? We're talking about me today. I don't know if this fits you or not. So after doing some additional soul searching, because I believe that as a founder, a lot of what we do is a reflection of us, that we project into our business. And so I was like, why? What is it? Like I understand fundamentally about websites, but what is it about the website that is so frustrating? And so when I really started digging deeper into that, the challenge is that, and after having to explain it, having this conversation with a lot of people, the challenge is that the skill set that you need to create a compelling website, it's a skill set to have a compelling website. It's a skill set to develop a marketing strategy. And when you go out into the marketplace and you talk to people who provide those services and you don't understand what you're building, it's going to be very difficult. And you may wind up with something that is not what you wanted to build. On the other side, on the coaches, the people trying to help you, they're like, how come they don't just do what I tell them to do? And you're on this side like, but wait a minute, you don't understand what I'm trying to build. And so there has to be like this meeting of the minds, but you can't have that meeting of the minds unless you have an understanding of what you're building, which is what you have with the Streamline Scale framework. That's what I'm trying to get to. I'm doing a good job. So my point is that, what was my point? My point is that it's important to, one, understand that you have a filter. Two, understand that it's quicker to get feedback in person than it is to do it on the internet. So you can't don't hide behind the internet or digital aspects. Go out there and put your eyeball to eyeball with some people to find out. And three is have a good understanding of what you're building, what your vision is for your business, so that when you talk to all these helpful people, that you can kind of stand your ground on what you're building, but still value the input. And it's like sort through it. You sift through it, you take in the good, you make changes. So one of the changes that I made now that I'm reflecting on the whole website thing was, I don't really want to leave people out there to chance on the website thing. I think there are a lot of people going out and starting businesses, and I feel like I need to save them, okay, from that. And so here's where my compromise was. I maintained my website focus. I did change it a little bit, but with the broader focus of growth and scaling. But then I added a website page that just talks about the website and the value in hopes to loop people in, right? So when I'm talking about me versus me, which was the focus of this Tool Rant Tuesday, what I'm hoping to communicate, I'm not sure if I did it or not, is that there has to be a level of awareness okay, as a founder, you have to have a level of awareness of how your filters interact with other people, and be ready to sift and sort, like take in everything and appreciate the value that people are providing to you through their comments, through their coaching, through their feedback, because it's extremely valuable. The most valuable feedback you can get in your business, honestly, it's not the influencers, it's not necessarily the coaches and consultants and all those people, except I love y'all. You're my target audience, so I love you. But it's when you come eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly, with your ideal customer profile. That is the most valuable thing that you can do in your business. So I had to get out of the way and understand my filtering system so I could hear the feedback in a way that I could take it and translate it into something meaningful for my ideal customer profile person, right? Because when I didn't have an awareness, before I talked to my people, when I didn't have an awareness of what my filters were, I didn't properly process the feedback I was getting. Right. So sometimes I got a little offended, like, whoa, what do you mean you don't understand? But when I came in contact with me and identified these filters, then it opened my ears up so I could hear the feedback from the customer and then respond to the customer. Because guess what? Me talking to me is not converting leads to customers. It's only when I understand what they need and I incorporate it into the problems that I solve in a way that they needed to be solved. It's all about the customer. It's not about me. When I set up my website, I set it up for me. But that's not who needs to look at it and understand it and get feedback from it and get their questions answered from it. It's not me. It's them. It's you. It's my ideal customer profile, my person. I'm going to change it from ideal customer profile to ideal customer person. You my person. So I have to get my all of my assets, all of my content, all of my communication has to line up with my person, so I can make sure that I am communicating to you in the language that you need me to communicate to you, so I can help you solve the problem I'm trying to help you solve. Because if we don't hear each other, then we both lose. I lose you as a customer, and you lose an answer to a pressing problem, right? So anyway, that was the topic for me versus me today. I hope this has been helpful to you. If it's helpful for you, these kind of personal sharing, then comment below if you ever had an aha moment when you've got some feedback from your ideal customer person that was different than you thought because you kind of used, your filter to create something. Like, share that in the comments. Share if you've ever had some coaching that maybe you felt like, oh, you changed something in your business, and then later you realize that it took you in a direction you didn't want to go in, but you didn't realize it. Comment that below, because this journey as an entrepreneur, founder, freelancer, coach, consultant is a personal journey as well. And we can't separate business from personal, because we are here. We're people. And so we bring our peopleness into everything that we do, including our businesses. I am Jewel T. Lenard, and I help founders, freelancers, coaches, and consultants scale with marketing technology. See you next Tuesday on Tool Rant Tuesday with Jewel T. Lenard. Bye for now.